drained, full of silt. In Matthew chapter 11, verses 27 to 30, the writer says, "All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Come to me, all you are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke, it is easy, and my burden, it is light." For several weeks, I've been watching the Facebook posts and the photographs of the blue pool being emptied. There are several different names for it, but I'm going to stick to the blue pool. The Facebook posts show the lake so low that I had a compulsion to go and view it myself. I'd never ever seen it dropped so low. All of the lake shore had warning signs of dangerous deep silt that could act like quicksand if you walked over it. The silt being the fine rock particles that have washed into the lake over generations through floods and, of course, the rains. As children, my parents would take us there with other families to swim and have a picnic. It was a long, hot walk in the summertime. There was no mountain bikes or cars that you could drive and park close to it. As teenagers, we went there to camp and swim, diving off the jetty, which could be anything between 10 and 15 foot above the water. I vividly remember all of my friends teasing and tempting each other to dive off the jetty and swim to the other side and back. I was quick to take up the challenge, dived off the jetty and swam to the other side. There was no access to get out. The only way was to turn back and keep swimming on the return journey back to the jetty. All of the boys were on top of the jetty shouting encouragement in the distance. I couldn't hear what they were saying. However, on the return leg, near in the middle of the lake, I started to become quite tired and very cold. The water was extremely cold, dark blue and deep. The shouts from my friends started to become far more clearer with every stroke. They weren't shouts of encouragement, rather asking if I had remembered the film Friday the 13th, voicing the theme music of the film Jaws. I was approximately 15 years old at the time. I didn't want to show that I was scared. Nevertheless, if at the time I was scared and tired, on hearing these theme tunes from the scariest films of the day, I suddenly found the strength of an Olympic swimmer. I felt as if I had propellers in my feet, and my arms went through the water like Marine Boy. On finishing the swim and reaching the bank, I climbed to the top of the bank as cool as I could, trying not to show that I was gasping for breath or angry with my friends, indicating I was scared. Many years later, I completed my BSAC, British Sub-Aqua Club diving certificate. I bought all the equipment. One weekend, I went with some friends back to the blue pool and dived to the bottom. My depth gauge read at the bottom 12.4 meters. That's 41 foot in old money. You cannot see the surface at the bottom. It's very dark and the visibility was not good. If you were scared of water or claustrophobic, then this recreation wouldn't be for you. The only thing we found at the bottom was several dead cars. My close friends who were calling out to me whilst I was in the middle of the lake swimming for my life didn't know that their provocation and attempts to cause great fear fueled my desire to reach the other side to safety, not to give up. Jesus Christ is calling each of us not to give up, to go towards him and find relief. His shore is a safe one and a fresh round of learning for all of us. taking on his yoke. Like the shores of the blue pool, where all of the inlets have collected deep silt, we too have collected all kinds of ideologies that confuse, cause anxiety, depression, and great stress. There are so many doctrines, influencers, and even relationships all vying for our attention. Charitable causes, politics, the new ideologies of the day. The Bible teaches us in many different scriptures, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. It says, the grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God endures forever. When Jesus says, come to me all you are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. We can trust his words and his teachings found in the Bible. If today, or even for some time in your life, we are feeling empty, drained, blocked with the silt of this world, like much of the blue pool, then it is time for a change. Take Jesus' yoke, which is easy, and his burden is light. Jesus' words in this passage asks each of us to learn from him. I will give you rest implies that he will support you in whatever difficulties you may be going through, or even removing the burden completely. Learning from him clearly indicates an emphasis on obedience in listening and learning. The challenge for each of us is to learn also appears in Matthew chapter 9. Jesus was sitting with complete sinners in Matthew's house. Jesus said, it is not the healthy who needs a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. Jesus wants each of us to learn from him, and he will wash away all the silt that is collected in our lives. The question we need to ask ourselves is, do we want change in our lives? When Jesus' words are accepted and his teachings are implemented in our lives, our life changes in a significant way for the better. My life is testimony to that good news, the gospel message. The Bible is as important today as it always was, and in this wonderful book we find Jesus' words of renewal. His words, his teachings, his yoke is all we need to find joy in this hostile, drained, and silted up world. Take a look at the Bible. Come and join us in Bethel Central Church, Maesteg. God bless.